Alright, Brush Monkeys, we're back, and this week we are starting a new feature on Flying Monkey Studios. This is going to be Dragon December. I'm going to try to make this a regular feature on the Flying Monkey Studios, and like every December do a new dragon. And I need your feedback on that, whether you want to see one dragon or two dragons. Each dragon, if it's the size like this one here, this is Ebonwrath from Reaper Bones. And Reaper's got a lot of really great dragons that are just enormous guys. If I can keep it up, I can get 2 dragons a month, but each dragon is going to be at least 2 videos to finish something that size. A lot of it will be done with the airbrush, and then the priming and airbrushing part of it will be one video, and then the brushwork will be the other video. Brushwork and detail and all that, finishing it up. And so, like I said, we're starting with Ebonwrath here. Next year I've got another one called Stormwing set aside. But that all depends on the feedback I get from you guys. Like, do you want to see one big dragon? Do you want to see 2 big dragons with multiple videos? Do you want to see like 4 small dragons and just do a dragon a week for the whole month? But yeah, for right now we're doing this, and then I've got 3 other figures figured out for the rest of December, and we're going to get started on this guy. So right off the bat, you can see the color scheme I've got going on this guy. He's a black dragon, obviously, but so I primered him black, but then I went back over things like the flesh in between the wings, the underbelly scales, things like that, in white, because I've got another color planned for those. The underbelly scales, I'm going to airbrush sepia ink here, and then dry brush them with this tyrant skull, so they'll come out kind of a dark tan color. The flesh in between the wing parts there are going to be De La Rowney flesh tone ink, and they'll be black along the back. And then the most of the rest of the dragon, all along the back of the wings and the back of the tail, legs, all that kind of stuff, is going to be this De La Rowney black ink. And then that's all going to be done with the airbrush. You're probably doing the Sotar 2020 over the whole thing like that. Then I'm going to dry brush the main body and legs and tail of him in the Army Painter Night Scales. This is a nice metallic black from their metallics group here. The little webs in between his back spines here are going to be painted with Nightmare Black. I'm going to paint the inside of his mouth with the Formula P3 Murderous Magenta. That's what I like to use as Beast Mouth Purple. And then I'll shade wash that with Druchii Violet. His horns, teeth, claws, little claws on the ends of his wing spines and all that will be a Shabti bone with a Agrax Earthshade wash, and then probably highlight it back up with the Shabti bone. And then finally his eyes, I thought about doing yellow. I was going to base him in white, so I got matte white. And then I thought about doing them in yellow, and then I thought I'd rather... Yellow and red are kind of overdone with dragon faces, so I decided I was going to do them with Tesseract Glow instead and get that nice little kind of greenish glow to them. I think it's going to look really spectacular on top of all this black and metallic black and all that kind of stuff. And then his base is going to be, bear with me a second here. Forgot to get that out. The base is going to be a Nazdrag yellow with probably a dry brush of Tyrant Skull on top of that to kind of bring out that sort of sandy desert texture on the base. But I think that's going to be the only contrast paint I'm actually using on this guy. All the rest of it's going to be just typical paints and airbrush ink. So yeah, so he's gonna. I think he's gonna look pretty slick. The back of his wings are, of course, going to be all black, and then that tan will show on the bottom parts of his wings, which I think will look pretty spectacular when he's done. So yeah, hopefully he'll come out looking as good as I think he's going to, as good as I got pictured. but we'll know that when we get started on the airbrush. So that being said, I'm going to go ahead and shut off here and go set up the airbrush and get started. All right, see you soon. Bye. Alright, brush monkeys, I'm back, and as you can see, I've got the undersides of the wings done, and the underbelly scales. The bellies, there's a couple little places that need to be touched up. I'm not entirely happy with how the, I've got a little bit of white right along there, you can see. This handle, the Citadel handle, wide handle, I had one with a base on it. That's completely useless as far as actually setting these things up and expecting them to stay there, because it's too top heavy and it'll fall over. It's great for holding it and not getting fingerprints on the miniature, but of course, you know, the thing fell off, broke the wing off, I had to glue the wing back in. So, yeah, I'm not entirely happy with how this ink worked out covering it. And the ink ended up really shiny. There's a couple of places where I can't tell if it's shiny or if it's white. Like there's a couple of places right around the ring. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over all the body with, especially places that should be black and aren't, like right there. I can't tell if it's, God damn. I'm not entirely happy with it, but you know, it is what it is. I'm going to go over the whole thing with Abaddon black. Just give it a quick once over and get places like that and there where it's really shiny. Places like underneath this where it's white for some weird reason. Come down along here. Same with on this side here. Underneath there, little spot that's missed on the tail there. And just make sure that I've got everything black that needs to be black. And then I'm probably going to matte seal it real quick, or maybe I'll go ahead and do the dry brush with the Tyrant Skull first and then matte seal it, because there are some places that are really shiny and some places where it's not, and I feel like the places where the ink hit, it's not shiny, but there are some places where the ink hit that it is. So it's like the ink itself has an inconsistent quality to it. So I'm going to touch all that up and get it all a nice even base. And then we'll come back and take another look at it before I matte seal it and dry brush it, just to get everything to the same tone, because I don't like parts of it being shiny and parts of it not. And then, yeah, I'll probably do at least get all those base coats done and the dry brushing done before I go on to the dry brushing the scales. And see how that looks, and then we'll get on to the regular, we'll finish it, wrap up this video and move on to the brushwork video. Alright, so see you soon. Bye. Alright, I'm back, and I've gone over this whole guy with the, I used the ELF brush here, kind of normally it's a heavy dry brush, but I did it to do big patches of this guy all at once, and he's just much more consistently black now, I think. It's a little hard to tell in some places on camera, but he's not shiny in some places and dry in others, which is what I was aiming for. So yeah, he's looking much more consistent now. So I'm going to let that dry and clean this brush, and then when we come back I'll dry brush the belly scales and the inside of the wings with the Tyrant Skull, and probably the same brush. So I'll pause here and let that dry, and then we'll come back and probably wrap up this part of the dragon video, and then next week we'll get into doing the brushwork part of it, where I'd go over the whole thing with the night scales and the Nightmare Black and everything else. Alright, so see you soon. Bye. Alright, brush monkeys, we're back, and I've got the tans all dry brushed, and I've got the whole dragon matte sealed with the Army Painter Anti-Shine. I know it's kind of hard to see that because he's still kind of shiny, but he's quite a bit less shiny than he was. So I'm still not entirely happy with how he's turning out, but I've still got a few tricks up my sleeve. And the last thing we're going to do on this video, and I'm hoping this works out, because normally I use the dragon scale wax on dragons. The Valpartha dragon scale wax is like a metallic wax that picks out all these little scales and everything. I'm going to be using this Night Scales from the Army Painter Metallics box set. It's just a metallic black. And I'm hoping this will do the same thing once it's dry brushed on there. So I'm going to go ahead and give that a try. I don't actually dry brush with regular paints very often. Normally you use dry paints, or like I said, the Dragon Scale wax. So this will be an interesting experiment. I'm going to go ahead and pause here and come back once I've got this done, and we'll see how he looks. Alright, see you soon. Alright, brush monkeys, and having dry brushed Ebonwrath here with the Night Scales from Army Painter, I think that was the effect I was looking for. That's got that nice dark metallic look to it. It's got kind of a silvery sheen to it, but it's really more of a like bluish gray black color to it. It's like a really dark bluish silver, and it looks really fantastic on those scales. It highlights little things like the bones and the wings, and I think it just really looks fantastic. And that's a lot more the effect I was looking for with this guy. I might go ahead and do a little bit on the wing membranes here. Not much, just light dry brush. And then so I'm going to go ahead and wrap that up for right now. I'm going to go ahead and call this bad boy done for this video. Next video we're going to get into painting the webs in between the little spines on the back with the Nightmare Black. We're going to paint the inside of the mouth. We're going to paint the horns, his teeth, his claws, all these little spines on the ends of his wings, all that fun stuff. The little ones on those legs here. I'm going to paint his eyes. We're going to do the base. The base, I wanted to point something out. I went over it with when I was doing the inks on the rest of the body. I went ahead and did reprimered the base white again, because I realized I was going to do kind of a desert base with that, and then having researched black dragons, come to find out they actually live in swamps. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to go over it with the contrast Plague Bearer Flesh here, and then probably give it a wash of Athonian Camo Shade, and then throw some Swamp Tufts on there too, so it'll have some plants and look like he's walking through some marshy stuff. But for right now, I think we're going to go ahead and call it done on this video. Thanks for watching. This was quite a bit shorter than I thought it was going to be, but you know, with dragons that sometimes happens. They tend to, when you're dealing with the airbrushing, they tend to go by pretty quick, and you know, you're airbrushing huge chunks of it, so the airbrushing portion of it goes by pretty quick. Next week will be a little bit more drawn out as we get into the brushwork portion of things. So thanks for watching, and I will see you guys next week. Bye. Hey Brush Monkeys, Tom from Flying Monkey Studios here. If you like what you see, click like down below. If you want to be notified when new videos come out, click subscribe. And in the meantime, if you want to see how to add one of the miniatures that we've painted on this channel to your own collection, check out our Instagram, Tumblr, and Patreon sites. If you want to support us in doing what we do, check out my Patreon site. Check out my merch store at storefrontier.com/FlyMonkeyStudios. You can get t-shirts, sweatshirts, long sleeve shirts, hoodies, all kinds of stuff there. Go check that out. And in the meantime, thanks for watching, and I will see you next week. Bye.